morning, everybody. We are live here in the Bottom
Morning.
Line Show. We have Lamar and Bria with us this morning. Good
Yeah,
to see you guys. How are you? How are y'all doing?
doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Doing
We're
pretty good.
we're on the
Man,
cusp of
my face is all beat up and
All
everything.
Hallows Eve. All Hallows Eve. How are those kids doing there with did you have trick or treating then, Bria?
I think it's gonna start today, if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna start today. Um, I'm assuming the thing is we were gonna do candy this year, right? We normally don't do Halloween. Like our kids don't dress up or anything. We don't
Oh,
do,
okay.
but we pass out candy sometimes, right? This year, the price of candy is just so high.
Inflation's hit candy, huh?
Oh my goodness. I was in Target and I was like, where is there a Walmart by us? I think I'm gonna go try Walmart or Aldi's or something because the bags of candy for trick or treating this year are $16, 15.99.
Really?
I would never. I put on Facebook, I'm like, these kids are getting a high five, okay? Then a high
Wow.
five from
Now,
me,
high five.
trick or treat. Because $16 for a bag of candy is ridiculous. I don't know what is going on. But even the little
Wow.
bags, the tinier bags are like $5.99. Um, the smaller bags are between like $5.99 and $10. But at the same time, you got to buy multiple bags because there's not enough candy in them. But the big bags
Right.
are $16. I said, y'all are tripping. Miss me this year.
Right.
No.
I got a comment about Halloween.
Yeah,
and
go.
Thank you.
and Facebook pissed me off again last night. I don't know if you guys saw my post yesterday, but
I did not. I don't think I did.
so I
Help
put
us
a
out.
post up yesterday talking about how Jeffrey Dahmer's costume is the number one selling costume this Halloween.
That.
And
Wow, I see. I
I
didn't
was
know that.
saying,
That's
and I said the irony of it all is that you have this guy going door to door with the Jeffrey Dahmer suit, door to door for chocolate. You know what I'm saying? And I said that's kind of ironic because a lot of people he murdered was people of
What?
color. So I just said that's some irony in that, and I said you have to be some kind of person to do something like that. And Facebook gave me another rejection.
really
Like
for that.
they yes, and I'm under warning again. So I'm like like I'm blocked or everybody can't see my lives or my posts. So I just want people to start. I mean, if everybody starts sharing what I shared, then of course it's going to be a problem. So I went and did a screenshot. I don't even know if it got to Prim or not, but
Wow,
I'm administrator at Prim, so
That's
I approved
crazy.
it.
I got to
But
look at that. So
The
yeah, I
thing
mean,
is, there should be lawsuits against these companies that are producing these costumes.
I don't agree with having a Jeffrey Dahmer suit. I
That's
mean, you could
the
that's
do
thing.
whatever you
ridiculous.
want
There are little
to.
kids with baskets and with black hands and feet in them. This is like enough.
What?
Yes, there's a little boy's video. This picture
Oh, I didn't know
viral
this. I
on
didn't I
Facebook.
didn't see this.
His costume is Jeffrey Dahmer, and he has a pail, a bucket, he has a sandwich in one hand, a bucket in the other hand, and it's got a severed black foot and a severed black hand. You're seeing a lot of these
That's
costumes.
messed up.
These parents are sick. They're dressing
That
up
Yeah,
is
as
sick.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
These are
My
kid
mom was like,
outfits.
let
This is not.
somebody dress as a white serial killer. Let somebody dress up as one of those. All hell will break loose. I
Oh wow, I disagree with that.
I
That's.
think it's insane. These parents
yeah. But I
need to
You
got
be
banned
talked
for bringing that
about
awareness.
them.
I was bringing awareness to something, and then saying, this is ironic how this is happening.
you get
And I
banned for
get,
the
I
most
and
mundane things.
I get.
I mean,
This is the
that's
first
legitimate.
time they did the same thing before with the guy with the Ku Klux Klan on his tattoo on his head. And I'm saying, I'm letting people know that this domestic terrorism is on a rise, and there are levels to this since the late 1800s. How the levels have changed up to the 2022 era, and
Yeah.
that's what the conversation was about. And I get blamed for it. So I'm like, this is crazy. I said it's not about this, and then you telling me that I violated your policies, and I'm like, you can
Like
completely take
calling out.
you can completely take it out of context. So it's almost like you're saying Jeffrey Dahmer's costume is the highest rated costume, but you want to sweep that up under the rug so nobody knows. I'm saying so.
I think
Facebook, you're just as
I didn't see that.
Facebook is not new to this. They are true to this. They are
and they're
very
right.
real to
They're
this.
very. They take everything out of context. They
I did
just look
not
at an
see the Netflix
algorithm.
show. I did not see the Netflix show.
I didn't either. Cheryl saw it.
I
I
will
didn't see it.
not. I will not watch that. Cheryl saw it.
Yeah.
I watched one episode. I could
You
not
did?
finish it. Yeah, because the reason why I decided not to
I will
finish
not watch
watching
that.
it is because I watched the first episode and I just got this feeling like, you know what? Just like I honestly I don't want to put this in the same category, but I feel like it's like a similar comparison. I do not watch like black slavery movies. Like I don't watch unless it's like an underlying situation here. I won't watch a movie just about
12 Years as a Slave, was that one?
yeah, like I wouldn't watch I won't watch that movie. Or I'm not gonna watch anything that is just super traumatizing. And
Yeah.
number one,
Because it's
Jeffrey
real.
Dahmer's
This is real.
yeah, but the Jeffrey Dahmer show didn't need to happen. There's a ton of documentaries, a ton of movies, and we don't really need to get into the psychology of Jeffrey Dahmer. The man was a
No,
racist,
it's making him into a celebrity. And
and
now
he
people
was
are
obsessed
dressing up
with
as him.
what's crazy is like the people are failing to realize that this man was obsessed with black men. He was obsessed with black people. And he
messed
fetishized
up.
them and killed them and kept them as souvenirs. So the thing that I have a problem with is for companies to go and create a costume of this person as if he's like Jason or if he's Freddy Krueger, these fictional characters. This man was a real person. Their family's still suffering from the damage that he's caused. This is unacceptable. This is not okay.
Yeah.
It
Well,
is not okay. You are right.
Good Morning America did a little article, but I'm trying to find it now. That's what's so crazy. That's what frustrates me about Facebook banning me about it because so you're saying that I'm trying to understand what's the point you're trying to get across by criticizing or blocking my post because eBay and other stores have stopped selling the costume
That's good.
because
Why
of
would you
the
sell it in the
Amazon
first
stopped
place?
selling them. But what I'm saying is that people stop selling them because of the fact that this does not make sense, and it shouldn't. This shouldn't. This, huh?
A lawsuit. I'm sorry. That's my solution.
So, well, yeah,
Several places have banned it. Bars, eBay. You said. Go ahead.
No, so that gets me to my point of me bringing people that awareness. What was Facebook's reason for banning or blocking or taking down my post? That's what I don't understand. Because right now we're having a conversation about it because Darren didn't know about it.
No, I didn't know
Bria's
about
like, so you guys are now on the backside researching it, saying, "Wow, look at this," because you didn't know.
I knew the costume was out there, but I didn't realize that it was the highest selling costume. I really thought it was a sprinkle. I thought it was a sprinkle of people. It was viral posts that were on Facebook. I didn't know that it was so widespread. That's insane.
So
insane.
what's the psyche of a person that will want to dress like that?
It's sick.
The worst part is
you could go to a person's house.
I don't know.
White mothers and fathers that encouraging their little white
dress their kid up like that.
These are not
There
black.
would be no way that I would allow
selling
that.
costume. That means all of these white parents are going to buy these Jeffrey Dahmer costumes.
Like you are not going out of the house like that.
Black people
give me that outfit, and I'm throwing it in the trash. That's what I would do.
That's a complete slap in the face. And what if you go to a person's house who's had a family member that was a victim? You're not going to know.
Let's just put this comparison.
I mean, just think about that for what I'm saying is that think about that,
or a victim of any crime that could be triggering.
Think about that for a second. What I just said.
Yeah,
a little kid goes to your house, knocks on the door, and you had a family member.
He's dressed up as Jeffrey Dahmer.
Well, was a victim. Do you know how traumatic that can be?
Yeah.
I'm like,
my thing is, imagine if this is the only reason why I'm making this comparison is because I know people were really, really up in arms about this case. Imagine if there was just like the highest selling costume. They just did an OJ documentary, and the highest selling costume was OJ. There'd be a lot of pissed off white folks out there. So
that would make news. That would be on all the morning talk shows and Fox would talk about that.
Something to think
and that
about.
company will be banned. You know what I'm saying? So they can't make any money anymore.
You know.
But the video, check the video out. It says eBay
Let's do the
removes.
video. Let's do this video because this
Okay.
is interesting stuff.
Hopefully we
to
don't
me.
get banned because it's on Good Morning
Just by
America.
showing this.
Which video is it?
It's at the very
eBay
bottom.
removed Jeffrey Dahmer.
All right, let's go to that.
Take the banner down.
Yes.
Now to our GMA cover story. We are just 5 days away from Halloween, and if you're still shopping for a costume, there's one in particular you probably won't be able to find this year. Lara has the story. Hey, Lara.
That is right, Michael. The massively popular series Dahmer had led to big demand for Halloween costumes, people wanting to dress up like the notorious killer. Well, eBay has taken major steps to stop the trend, but what happens if your child wants to dress up as something that might be a little or a lot offensive? Take a look.
This morning, eBay pulling all costumes for Jeffrey Dahmer off its site.
I don't think everybody gets to have a dream.
eBay saying it is banning Jeffrey Dahmer costumes because they violate the company's violence and violent criminal policy, adding that these items have been prohibited under the policy. This was not a new or recent decision. The popularity of the costumes stemming from the hit Netflix show that dramatizes the life of the serial killer who murdered 17 males between 1978 and 1991.
There are tons of costumes that children and adults have dressed up in for years based on fictional characters. We have Michael Myers, we have Freddy Krueger, and those are very scary. But there is one critical difference. They are not real. Jeffrey Dahmer was a real serial killer, and there is a level of indecency that goes along with celebrating or having fun with that image.
While the Dahmer costume may be banned, Google says other pop culture favorites continue to soar in their most searched lists, including witches.
Yes, Salem, we're back!
Spider-Man, and Stranger Things. Google also saying the Encanto costume is trending.
If you're impressed, imagine how I feel.
Ted Lasso Halloween costume searches increasing by 550% this week.
The Ted Lasso welcome wagon has arrived.
And She-Hulk costume searches surging by 80%.
So I'm clearly nailing it at all of these things.
All right, so what happens if your child does come home with a costume that makes you a little concerned? Well, experts say that you should have an age-appropriate conversation with them to help them develop a sense of empathy, what's right and what's wrong. Then you all can brainstorm together and compromise or not compromise on an alternative option, Michael.
As George said earlier, just say no.
Exactly.
But what if there are people out there who want to save money? What can they do?
There are a lot of great tips here. So.
But that was it, right?
Did you see how Michael Strahan just cut it off?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, just say no. There's no need to even engage.
Yeah.
I
agree with him.
You don't always have to bring race into it because Bria brought it up earlier, but it's like it's almost always there. And you know what I'm saying? It's like
I don't make the rules.
I can't see like when we had the killer back in the day that was sniping people, the two black guys that were sniping people on the Washington Bridge.
In Washington.
Nobody ran out to get a costume to look like them with fake Uzis or fake rifles. Because it's like it's insane.
Exactly.
Why would you want to? So I can't see
Leanne, right?
I can't see a black kid dressing like a serial killer with their mother's and father's consent.
Why?
I can't see it. It's not going to happen.
You can't see it. I'm sorry, you can't. Got it.
It's almost unconceivable. My mind can't even fathom that. Even in today's age, a parent saying, that's a pretty cool costume, kid. Going out there and get your candy. I can't even imagine it. Knowing that you murdered a whole group of that's like somebody that killed all the Asians at the massage parlor. Or somebody going to dress up with an Asian with a gun or a knife? You know what I'm saying? That's insane.
Or a school shooter.
Why would you? But you got to realize this killer killed a certain group of people. That's what makes it so bad. It wasn't like he was randomly killing people. He targeted a group of people. That's what makes it so bad. And these parents, I can't even believe the company even created the costume. They should be
sued.
They should
I'm
be just
sorry. I don't
cut
know what
off
lawsuit would
to
be.
create a costume like
I'm
that.
not sure how you can sue them, but
I just can't
they
think
should
of.
be out of
You should
business.
sue their butts off. You should sue their pants off.
If I
Like,
was a family member, I would try my best to sue them.
to get a lawsuit. Come on, because like you have to. And going back to what you said, like just imagine a victim opening the victim's family opening the door to see a little
Yeah.
kid dressed as Dahmer. Like honestly, and the worst part is you can't. I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. If any of you guys out there happen to come across this video that did purchase a costume, you cannot be mad if your kid gets beat up on Halloween. Okay, you
Yeah.
can't get mad. You just gonna have to take the L. I don't condone violence, but you can't do stuff without consequences. Like you cannot expect your
Yeah.
kids to be okay out here dressed as Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Good luck.
We
That's
had
insane.
I have not seen. I don't know what the most inappropriate. I'm trying to think of the most inappropriate costume I've ever seen. I'm not sure that I could give you one.
That probably
The
takes
kids
the
that
cake right
the kids
now.
that
Yeah,
I've
that's
seen.
the worst costume I've ever seen in
Well,
my life.
but I've not seen it in person. I've not seen. No one's come to my door with something that I was like, wow.
Oh no, y'all. I live in
What's the most inappropriate costume you've ever seen out there, or what's the most someone was like, some kid was like, James says a Hitler costume.
Yikes. I've never
So
seen
you've
that.
actually seen that? You have seen that? Someone's come to your door with a
You know
Hitler
what? I
costume
have
on?
seen that. I have seen a
You have
Hitler
seen that?
costume.
Who is dressing their kids as Hitler? Who are you people?
I have seen
that
that.
kid would not get
Who
any candy
raised
from
you?
that would not get any candy from me. I'd be like,
But I've seen it. I'm
I'm
not sure
sorry,
if
I
it
don't
was
care
Halloween.
I don't care how young they are. They're not getting any candy from me.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, next caller. Sorry.
I don't know if
Sorry,
I saw a
I just ran
Halloween
out.
costume, but I seen
Bria
costumes.
loves the kids, but I can't.
The Prince of England.
Prince Andrew? Yeah.
What's that?
Is that the right one?
Yeah,
Prince
the Prince of
Andrew?
England. I don't know who. Harry.
Harry.
I'm not sure why that's why is that inappropriate though?
You like Harry.
What's wrong with Harry? Anyways,
Oh, let's take him now. Okay, so moving.
if y'all want to, you could share your costume that you have for this year, or what your kids dressed up as. Mine, excuse me, I'm having issues here this morning. My kid was a butterfly, so she's a 12th grader now, but she had a Halloween party to go to, so she had a costume. So
nice. We don't really do the Halloween thing, but we're going to a harvest festival. That's gonna be nice. It's called Pumpkins and Ponies. We're
Got a
going to
question.
so that's gonna be cool.
So why aren't y'all doing Halloween?
I didn't grow up doing Halloween. I think I remember one Halloween memory, and that was like I was dressed as a clown. Me and Bryce were clowns, and we went trick or treating with my Uncle Russ. And I vaguely remember that memory, like
Okay.
vaguely. I don't even know if it was real, if I actually went. I just remember certain parts of it. But we don't do it just for religious reasons. I'm a Christian. I don't know.
okay.
The Halloween thing is just growing up is I had an understanding that it's just not something we did. So
But
Okay.
yeah, I was
Interesting, okay.
asking the question because I remember like we stopped doing Halloween when like they were like really little. I don't even remember Bria actually going trick or treating, but she might have. But anyway, yeah, that was something that I just took away from because I just thought it was so dark, and I'm trying to raise my kids as best as I could, but with a positive influence on things. And
I understand that.
I'm not sure if the church got involved with my mindset on a lot, but I still feel that way because me and Cheryl talk about it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I just don't want to push something in that sense. I don't want to influence something like that. So anyway, I asked Bria why she did it, and the perception I know from me is like it's different when because I know she was against. She wanted to do it so bad. And I'm like, no, you ain't go to the church event. But the thing about it is now that you have your own kids.
Yeah.
You have your own kids, and now we're talking about a Jeffrey Dahmer costume. That show you the mindset. This hear what I'm saying? How the world has evolved so much, and the the mindset of people so much.
Mhm,
And I'm like,
mhm.
it just scares me. It just scares me the lack of. We could take these things, these fantasy things, and people can put themselves in this reality. We don't know how many people are really influenced by these dark things that they see. It's almost like people don't have any type of control over themselves anymore. It
Mm.
just scares me that you see a lot of stuff got to deal with the devil. So much things deals with demons, and people don't realize that to a certain extent, at least from my perspective, a lot of this dark demonic stuff is real to a certain extent. And so people
I
can
respect that. I
dabble.
respect that.
People,
Go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I have a mixed feelings about Halloween. I think that it's fun, and I think if you have a fun costume, I think it's a seasonal thing, and I think it can be a lot of fun. And as long as it's fictional, as long as you're having fun, um, then I don't see anything wrong with it. The roots of Halloween were actually to scare away evil spirits. You put on a mask and try to get rid of the evil spirits out of your house and out of your life. So that's not something that was inherently evil. It became that over time. So I think that by claiming it, you can make it into something positive. But I don't like to go overboard with it. That kind of makes me feel. That kind of makes me uncomfortable if people are really so into it. Some people they have these parties and I don't
Yeah.
know, they go full bore. So,
Yeah,
anyways,
I think that's just why, like, I mean, we try to do the Halloween thing, like, every year we're like, "Oh, we're gonna dress up Logan and Fallon as, something." This was, like, not for the last 2 years, but it was a go we were like, "Okay, let's do trick or treating, let's do it." We just never did it, like, we just never got into it because I don't think George, my husband, did Halloween growing up either. I think we both just went to the same Harvest Fest and didn't even know we were there at the same time. We went to New
wow,
Community pretty much around that, Halloween time every year, and they had, like, this really cool festival with, like, candy and stuff. If I think for me, I don't know, I don't know, it's obviously because we grew up without celebrating it that it doesn't
yeah.
seem like an important thing to do, it's just not we just cannot
James
get into it.
James mentions the Day of the Dead. That is a fun event and something. It's a little bit different of a twist to things, and
Mhm.
people in our culture kind of fear death and kind of.
But that's like a
Uh,
real, that's a
but
traditional
when
thing.
it's a cultural thing, and in Latin America, and like it's kind of embracing it as a part of life, and so that you're not so. It's not such a taboo thing. Anyways, so there's a lot of topics today,
Mhm.
and we got off on the Halloween thing. So one of the things that last week I intended to show was this video in Florida where people were being arrested for voting. So we were talking about voting last week. Um, there was a shooting in St. Louis. Speaking of Halloween and scary stuff, somebody broke into Nancy Pelosi's house and attacked her husband. He's in the hospital. That's a developing story as we speak. That happened within the last day. Kanye, of course, that was big news. More debates. John Fetterman was in a debate with Dr. Oz. Justice Thomas made the news. I thought maybe Lamar had some insights on Justice Thomas, but there was an interesting thing in Europe where climate protests were throwing cans of soup on paintings. So I just thought that was interesting, and I wondered if that was effective. So we have all these things and more going on this week.
Okay.
What would you like to talk about there, Bria?
Well, let's go to the climate protests, versus the paintings.
You want to see that?
Yeah, I think that's really interesting.
Okay, so here's two things. They're short.
Okay.
Security.
is worth more, art or life? Is it worth more than food? Worth more than justice? Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting or the protection of our planet and people? The cost of living crisis is part of the cost of oil crisis. Fuel is unaffordable to millions of cold, hungry families. They can't even afford to heat a tin of soup. Meanwhile, crops are failing. Millions of people are dying in monsoons, wildfires, and severe drought. We cannot afford new oil and gas. It is going to take everything we know and love.
Hallo. Wo brauchen Sie kommen?
Menschen hungern, Menschen frieren, Menschen sterben. Wir sind in einer Klimakatastrophe. Und alles, wovor ihr Angst habt, sind Tomatensuppe oder Kartoffelbrei in einem Gemälde. Wisst ihr, wovor ich Angst habe? Davor, dass die Wissenschaft sagt, dass wir 2050 unsere Familien nicht werden ernähren können. Braucht es Kartoffelbrei auf einem Gemälde, damit ihr zuhört? Dieses Gemälde wird nichts mehr wert sein, wenn wir uns um Essen streiten müssen. Wann ist der Punkt erreicht, an dem ihr hinhört? Wann ist der Punkt erreicht, an dem ihr hinhört und nicht einfach so weitermacht?
So, my question is this an effective protest?
I think it's shocking. It gets the shock value. I don't disagree with anything that they're saying. It does suck that you have to disrupt. You have to destroy priceless artifacts, I guess you would say, and and outrage a bunch of people just for them to understand that literally, there are people who can't even afford to be warm in the winter.
Uh-huh.
But this is a thing that this was just being talked about in England, right? The people were like really upset, and weren't they yelling at I'm not really sure what's going on over there, but I know something about that. Like King Charles was coming down or something like that, and they were like, "Hey, we can't even afford to. We're poor over here. We can't afford to eat."
Yeah. You can't,
So,
I can't even heat my home, and yet we're spending millions of dollars on your parade. Yeah.
this isn't like a new thing. This is like it's not new. It now looks like I didn't realize it was everywhere in Europe. Apparently, so.
Well,
what museum was
this
that?
has gone on. This has gone on in Korea. This has gone on in South Korea, I should say. It's gone
What
on in
museum was
Australia.
that?
I think it
It
was
was
in
two different
London.
museums.
It was in two different museums, two different groups, but they're effectively doing the same things, and the
Where?
message is the same. One was in Germany, of course, and the other was in London, I believe. That first one.
How did they get into the museum with something?
With cans?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably
I
not.
guess you could just carry it in a bag and in a purse. It wouldn't be that hard. Wouldn't be that hard at all, I don't think.
I can't imagine doing that.
Apparently they're not. I don't know how, but apparently they're not permanently damaged, according to reports. I'm not sure how they could not be.
I think that those aren't the real paintings. Those are probably
Replications.
Yeah.
So the first one was a Vincent van Gogh Sunflowers, and this is in London. Apparently, it's valued at 110 million. Was protected by sealed glass, and it remains unharmed. So, although it looks like it's directly on the painting, it is protected by glass. So, apparently, there is not damage to the painting, which is good. I don't know why we can't also support
Is it good,
art,
though?
and we can support the earth. I don't know why we can't support the earth and we can't support beautiful art. And it
So
wasn't.
I think that I can tell you why. This is art. This is expensive. These are your everyday people aren't just going to to look at this art. I mean, they are like you get a lot of tourists and stuff, but I mean, people that these people are talking about, they don't have the time to go to a museum and look at this art. You know, they're trying to keep the lights on. They're trying to keep the heat going. So I think that is where that's where the intersection is. I think that's where there's a conflict is you're trying to wake up a class of people who aren't affected by these issues. Or they just don't care about these issues, or they don't even really know about it. It's not something that's on their mind every day. Maybe that's there where, you know, that's why you can't do both. I mean, maybe it's a bad thing that the paintings weren't destroyed, because if they were destroyed, maybe there would be more outrage about it. Maybe there would be more press on it.
Wow. Okay.
If that Vincent van Gogh sunflower painting was completely destroyed forever, I think that would be a big deal.
Right.
So something to think about.
Well, I think that, as James said, there might be more effective ways to protest. So I'm not sure if this is the most effective way, but this is the way that they're choosing to do so. And I mean, it does make a good speech for 2 minutes, and they got their point across. So I don't know. There's been a lot of climate news from the UN recently, and this is in the same vein. So.
Oh, did we post this already? Did we post Leanne's comment? This is how I feel too, Leanne. Like, oh, they're not harmed. Like nothing happened to them. Darn. You know, I mean, climate change is real. Yeah. It's a shame.
So I want to talk about this thing in Florida.
Okay.
That they are being arrested for voting.
Okay. I did not hear about
No,
this.
this happened. This has been happening. This actually happened last week. We just didn't get to it, but I wanted to make sure we got to it this week. So
apparently, I guess you have a warrant.
For what?
I'm not sure.
For voter stuff, man.
For voters.
It's what it is. I think the agents with FDLE talked to you last week about some voter fraud, voter stuff when you weren't supposed to be voting, maybe.
I didn't.
So.
What are they talking about?
That's what we're not the case agents, but what you got to do, they have reduced your bond quite a bit. It's 2 felony charges for voter fraud, but they've reduced it to $500 bonds. So it's $1,000 total.
Oh my God, man! What?
So, yes, sir. So unfortunately, right now we're gonna have to take you to jail, but you got a bond right away. You don't have to go to first appearance, nothing like that. So.
A bond? I didn't do it.
Okay. So, ma'am, we have a warrant for your arrest.
For what?
For voter fraud.
Good. How are you, sir?
Right?
Oh my God! Hold on.
Wait.
Let me tell my husband. We're telling him he's right here.
Right here. So if you could put your hands behind your back, please.
Oh my God!
Do not move.
Ultimately, ma'am, you have a warrant. Okay. The warrant. Listen. I know you caught off guard. I understand. Right. So you have a warrant. It's for voter fraud. Okay. Hear me out. It's an ROR. You know what an ROR is?
Oh my God.
You go in, you get booked, and then they're going to release you from booking.
You can go right out.
You're going to be right back out. Okay.
Right back
but you have a warrant.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm like, voter fraud. I voted, but I ain't commit no fraud.
Well, so that's the thing. I don't know exactly what happened with it, but you do have a warrant. That's what it's for. Okay?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened with that, but.
I got out. The guy told me that I was free and clear to go vote or whatever, because I done my time.
Yep.
I was free.
The warrant was just made yesterday, so
The guys talked to me 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, ma'am. I honestly couldn't tell you. Okay. So I got to do some paperwork, and the quicker I can get the paperwork done, the quicker I can get you there. Okay.
Hey, unfortunately, you got a warrant out, okay?
Warrant?
Yes, sir. You want to put your hands behind your back for me?
I guess you're not allowed to vote.
Well, no, but no one ever really explained all that much to me. I told the guys when they came out here that I was at the driver's license place getting my new driver's license.
Yeah.
The guy there asked me, he says, hey, he says, hey, are you ready to vote? I said, no, I'm a convicted felon. I'm pretty sure I can. He goes, well, are you still on probation? I said, no. I got off probation like a month ago. He goes, well, then you can probably vote. Hey, just fill out the form, and if you can vote, then they'll give you a card. If you can't vote, then you won't. And I'm like, all right.
And there's your defense. You know what I'm saying?
I
Sounds like a loophole to me.
Well, we can hope.
Yes, sir. Will do.
It's because of the sex offender thing that you can't vote. So, I mean, the warrant is for the voting deal, I guess, but... I guess it's kind of all tied together. Yeah, I guess they're doing like some kind of roundup thing or something for all the ones that were within the county.
Yeah, I had to do one of these this morning already.
Oh, really?
Do you know the statutes for them?
It doesn't say it on the...
Let's walk over to my car,
Why is
okay?
y'all doing this now and this happened years ago?
I don't know. I have no idea, man.
This shit crazy, man. Y'all put me in jail for something I didn't know nothing about. Why would y'all let me vote if I wasn't able to vote?
So there you have it. All of these people had voter registration cards. In many cases, they were told that they can vote. In many cases, they, at least in the one example that of these three examples, this one person admitted, I don't think I can vote. I'm a felon. And the guy said, no, you can. So he filled out a voter registration card or filled out the paperwork and voted. And of course, and the guy is asking, well, why now? One of the ones that is arrested. Why now? Why is this happening now? We all know why now. It's because it's a stunt. And because DeSantis wants to point to these people and say, see, there is voter fraud. So of all the millions of people that live in Florida, 20 people were targeted. And of course, what's the narrative? That illegal immigrants are voting, right? And that immigrants are going to replace us, and Democrats want to bring all these new people into the country so that they'll register as Democrats. But are any of these people immigrants? No. These people are citizens. These people live here. These people are United States citizens. So, of course, it is targeting, as you say, James. I like when Leanne says, of course, when the cops are coming across as good guys, you know you messed up. When they're trying to be empathetic and they're trying to be nice to you and says, I'm sorry, I have to take you in, kind of thing, instead of being aggressive about it. I mean, here's a question. Why are the police faces blacked out, but the arrested people are not? I don't understand
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't understand that. So help me out, somebody.
There's an interview because that was like 2 weeks ago, I think it was. There's an interview I have for a guy because this stuff was reported 2 weeks ago, but I think this happened, earlier. It was throughout the months, last couple of months. These arrests have been going on. I don't think they all happened at the same day. I'm not sure exactly, but there's a video I have in there of one of the guys being interviewed. If you want to show that, because I wanted to see how many people were released that were arrested. Have you guys heard any more about who all have been released?
They told that woman she would go in and come right back out.
No, have you heard any more, like the people that were released? Have we seen their faces? Have we talked to them? Have we seen, where are the Democrats at? Why aren't they interviewing these people? Why aren't they getting their testimonies?
Why isn't the media going to these people and having an interview?
Yeah. So
but Leanne makes a great point. It's like, why would you risk your freedom? Is it really worth it to cast one vote? Probably
right,
not.
Exactly.
DeSantis is using law enforcement as a form of voter intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. The cops are public servants. The others are private citizens.
Yeah.
So you had another video here, Lamar.
It was a man who was arrested who thought that he was able to vote. He thought he was allowed to vote.
Okay.
He didn't know.
Let's view a little of that, can we?
Yeah, sure.
New at 5, a man arrested for a possible election crime tells News 6
He's being used as a political pawn.
He was one of 20 people state agents arrested last week, now facing charges for illegally voting in the 2020 election. It was the first public outcome of the state's newly formed Office of Election Crimes and Security. Investigator Lewis Bolden is in studio tonight. And Lewis, he says he's innocent in all of this.
He does, Lisa. Peter Washington pled no contest to a felony offense in 1996 and served 10 years in prison. He says for the last 12 years, he has turned his life around, held down a job, and started a family. He says a series of events, though, led him to believe he was eligible to vote after Amendment 4 passed.
I'm angry, but I'm hurt.
59-year-old Peter Washington was among the 20 people arrested across the state last week for allegedly illegally voting in the 2020 election. Governor Ron DeSantis announcing the arrests at a press conference.
They are disqualified from voting because they've been convicted of either murder or sexual assault, and they do not have the right to vote.
Washington says he thought his rights had been restored. Did you intentionally cast an illegal ballot?
No.
In 1996, Washington pled no contest to attempted sexual battery and was given probation. But he kept violating probation by not registering properly with the state, according to the probable cause affidavit and state records. Because of the violation, in 2001, he served nearly 10 years in prison and was released in November of 2010. Since then, he says he has tried to be a model citizen by starting his own business and starting a family.
I'm just trying to live and be successful.
In 2018, Florida voters passed Amendment 4 to automatically restore the right to vote for people with prior felony convictions upon completion of their sentences, except those convicted of murder or a felony sexual offense. Under the law, felons are not allowed to sit on juries, but according to the probable cause affidavit, Washington received jury summons on 3 separate occasions, which he reported for.
That what made me think that I was eligible to vote, or my rights were reinstated. Because you can't be on a jury duty unless your rights are being reinstated.
Urged by his wife, Washington says in 2019, he filled out a Florida voter application, and according to the affidavit, Washington received a voter information card with a voter ID. He says he went to the polls with his wife in person and asked questions.
Me and my wife asked. We showed them the ID, we showed them the voter card, and we said, "Is this valid?" They said, "Yeah." And that's the only reason I walked in there and voted.
Why was he issued a voter ID? Orange County Supervisor of Elections Bill Cowles released a statement reading, "If we do not receive a packet from the state, we remain unaware of the individual's conviction." After the arrest, Senator Jeff Brandes, who authored Amendment 4, tweeted video of the governor's press conference, writing, "It was our intent that those ineligible would be granted some grace by the state if they registered without intent to commit fraud." Washington says the worst part has been unintentionally hurting his wife.
I don't even want to talk about it. It hurts. It hurts. I tried to be strong for her, but it hurts.
Now remember, 20 people were arrested for the same thing. We tracked down another person, also from Central Florida. She also tells News 6 she legitimately thought she was eligible to vote. We will have her story coming up at 6 o'clock.
Very interesting to hear from him and hear his side of the story and all of this. Now, Louis.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and cut it. Those are the stories that we need to continue to be putting out there.
Yep.
Not us. When I say us, I'm talking about you. You should be
Everybody.
hearing more of these stories on the news
Mhm.
of them telling their story, because all we know is that these were convicted felons, but we don't know what this is. We did think about it. This guy was for sexual battery. They put him on probation. He doesn't even get arrested for the crime he previously committed. He gets convicted because of not registering and does 10 years. You do 10 years for not putting your name on a list saying, "Oh, I committed this crime." Is that worthy of 10 years, really?
No.
That's what's so disgraceful.
Of course not.
That's so disgraceful. And then you arrest the man and you gave the man a vote. That shows you that when they arrested these people, Governor DeSantis did not do his due diligence, or his team to see who he was arresting. All he knew was they were felons at one time. He did. How could you arrest a man? You only gave him 3. He didn't serve on a jury duty 3 times. You know what I'm saying? That makes. Why don't they have that in their research?
You see, the worst part about this is though, that's not the worst part. Not even close to the worst part, but a big part of it is you feel bad for the officers arresting these people.
Yeah.
Because
I did.
It's the first time in a long time I felt bad for the police.
yeah, like they are trying to explain what's going on, but they don't even know what's going
Right.
on. In fact, the one guy picks up his voter registration card and it's like, well, there's your proof right there.
There's your
You know,
defense.
there's your, but I see it looks like a loophole to me. Like in this moment, you're seeing officers connecting as real people, as like human beings. Like they are like, wow, this is really messed up.
Yeah.
Like even the lady that the female officer that was on the radio, it's like, yeah, I did my first one this morning.
I did one this morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's just, it's one of those moments where you're just like, America. Dang on America.
So, I mean, these are the type of tactics that are going to be used and employed for this midterm election.
Yeah.
Trying to round up all illegal voters. I just wanted to say that this issue that passed in 2020, excuse me, that was referenced, issue 4, restored the voting rights to most felons. Although there is the, as DeSantis pointed out, the sexual crimes
And murder.
apparently.
So it was sexual
Excuse me,
assault.
I'm having problems today. I'm sorry, but but it passed almost 2 to 1, 64.5% to 35.5%. So more people voted for this bill to restore voting rights to a bunch of people. A lot of people in Florida passed by more votes than Ron DeSantis got for his governorship. Anyways, interesting. Was that 2020? That was not 2020, I don't think. Let me look at that again. That was 2018. I'm sorry. Issue 4 passed in 2018. I remember this and remember thinking to myself, yeah, that should be done and that should make a big difference to a lot of people. And I agree with it. It should be done nationwide.
Yeah.
If you've done your time,
you should be able to vote.
I think that you should be able to vote. It's supposed to be, when we send someone to jail, it's supposed to rehabilitate them, right? So when you do your time and come out, whatever that is, you should be able to get a job. You should be able to get a place to live, and you should be able to vote.
Yep.
You should have your rights restored.
You
So
should be
I agree.
part of civilization again. You've done your time. I feel like that often where it's not fair for people to still be punished after they have done their time in prison. And I do have exceptions to this. Like I feel like it's multi-layered, but for the most part, if you go to jail and you do your time, when you get out, you should have the same opportunities as anyone else.
You should. Especially as a citizen.
Yeah. But a lot of times, I even feel like it's messed up that are you a convicted felon on job applications or college applications? It's automatically just kind of limiting you to your.
It is so very, very limiting. I can't tell you how many people in the nature of my work as a minister that I meet, people that come to me because they can't find a job because they have a criminal history.
Really
and these are people that are really trying to get back to living a life like you and I. So I feel for those people.
I've seen a lot. I've seen an increase of people getting their CDL license or their CDLs and starting trucking companies. These are some of these people are convicted felons who could not find work elsewhere, and now they are making more than anybody working a 9-to-5, pretty much. Because you got to make a way out of no way. It's not fair that you have to make a way out of no way. Like you did your time. I think that's one of the things that I honestly can't get over. I see it all the time. It's crazy. But this issue was watching that video was really heartbreaking, to be honest. Both parts, it was confusing for the people getting arrested. It was confusing for the people arresting. Like, it's just like,
It's
dang,
not
this is
fair.
a bad day. Like, this sucks, man.
Yeah, it just really looks bad on the whole. DeSantis' whole team looks bad in that situation. Is what I'm saying. It just looks bad.
I'm really confused as to the appeal of DeSantis. He's running for re-election right now.
So slimy.
And when things like this and things like the immigration thing in Texas, where he flew people to Martha's Vineyard, that's such a political stunt. How can it not be an obvious? Isn't it obvious that it's a political stunt? I mean,
Well,
these things are obvious.
You should
to
question
me.
the people who support him, like the citizens who support him. Shows you
I'd
that
like
a lot
to.
of
I would like to.
but
What are you
I'm saying
thinking?
it shows a lot of people agree with what he's doing. That's the sad part. That's like
That's
Donald Trump.
sad.
How do you get
That's
70 million
sad.
people vote for Donald Trump? Those people believe in the policies and the things that Donald Trump is doing. That's the example. I mean, these guys, all these people running for Senate and Congress that are election deniers. So if they win their seat, do they still deny the election is fair? An election denier who wins
Yeah.
their seat.
Yeah.
Do they believe that the election was fair?
And somebody was asked that. I mean, if you win the election, does that mean that there's election fraud?
Should we have to recount the vote 10 times before you're allowed to take your seat?
Because it makes sense, right? If there's always election fraud, if every election there's people that shouldn't vote, and if you happen to win the election, are you going to do an investigation?
I would ask an election denier if they win a seat, did you commit the fraud? You know, did you have people go out and put in dead people's ballots? You know?
The argument is insane. I feel like this is, I'm not saying that it hasn't always been an issue, but I think that now more so it's just such this big thing that it just doesn't have to be or need to be.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think about it, that the percentage of voter fraud that happens in this country, if any, is so
It's very, very
small.
minuscule. It's
It's
very
so
minuscule.
small it wouldn't make a difference. And
It
I
doesn't.
feel like this is just a way for certain people in parties to just kind of just shake things up and disrupt. Like,
Yeah.
why are you trying to disrupt the process, the American process? Like, it's
Right.
just is I don't know. Honestly, I'm so over everything right now. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep thinking that America is not gonna surprise me, and then like something like this
Something
happens,
happens.
or
Yeah.
like, and honestly, I've been over DeSantis for a long time, ever since he was talking about how
We're gonna have
culture
to get used to him. We're gonna have to get used to him. He's gonna be in the national stage. Speaking of DeSantis, he was asked by Charlie Crist, who's running against him. If you win the Florida governorship, do you commit to serve? And he didn't answer the question because, of course, we know that he's going to run for president in 2 years.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
that's telling right there. Would you vote for a governor knowing that in 2 years that he's just going to turn around and run for president?
No, 'cause you know his
Apparently,
heart's not in it.
Florida voters don't care because
Yeah.
he's probably going to win. I think he's ahead by like 5 or 6 points.
Yeah.
So,
Hey guys, I'm gonna be exiting the show. I got some things I gotta take care of a little bit. But
thanks for being here,
wish
Lamar.
you all for the rest of the looking forward to a good show. And I catch you all next week.
All right.
Take
See
care.
you, Lamar. See you.
Yeah, that's wild.
I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
This is close to
Oh,
you.
he left at the oh man, I wanted to actually hear his.
You want to ask his opinion on this?
I
Okay.
had-
Well, maybe you'll comment online.
Yeah.
So a couple of things about the St. Louis incident and the video that we're going to watch afterwards. I have some questions for everyone. So.
Yeah.
Authorities in St. Louis say the suspected gunman behind Monday's deadly shooting targeted his former school, killing 15-year-old sophomore Alexandria Bell and health teacher Jean Kushka at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School. Police found a chilling handwritten note Orlando Harris left in his car. The 19-year-old wrote that he felt isolated and disconnected from the school community. According to police, the gunman's family had him committed several times to a psychiatric facility. They monitored his mail, and on October 15th, they notified police he had a gun and had it removed from their home.
They contacted us and said that he had a farm I believe it could have possibly been this gun. The officers in their response handed it over to somebody else, an adult who was lawfully able to possess it.
But that same gun, this AR-15 style rifle, investigators believe somehow got back into his hands so he could unleash the attack on Monday.
The family's fully cooperative. They're also heartbroken over this incident. They've done everything that they could possibly have done, but sometimes that's not enough.
Authorities say school doors were locked and there were 7 security officers at the school when the gunman arrived, but they won't specify how he got in. They say he somehow forced his way into the building. A nearby construction crew gave arriving officers tools to break open the locked doors and quickly confront the shooter. And then pull those students to safety.
Everybody line up in a single file line, okay?
Federal and local authorities are trying to figure out how that gun got back into the hands of the...
Okay, so my question is, what could they have done? What else could they have done? Because the family was taking precautions. The gun was removed once from him. They sought medical care, mental health care for him. Okay, and he received it. What else could have been done in this situation to prevent this?
How did he get the gun in the first? Is this a legal gun? Was this a registered gun? Like what was this? Like I don't
Well,
understand.
probably at first, but I mean they had the gun removed, so removed legally. So
Then it got
the question is, of course, how he got it again. But still, it sounds as if in this case the system was working, or at least should have worked enough to prevent this. So again, my question is, so what else could have been done in this case?
honestly don't know. I'm so sick. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of this.
It's sad.
I am so sick of this. School shootings are becoming a normal thing. Like this is not okay for it to be normal. Like it's becoming
I
a
know,
normal
I
thing.
know, it's terrible.
Like the shock lessens every time, which is terrible. It's terrifying that the shock is wearing off every time we hear about a school shooting. I don't know what could have been done differently. I honestly do not know, but I feel like there has to be a way. I think at this point, it's time for us to really dig deep and ask the hard question. Do we love our guns more than we love our kids?
Yeah, I think we're past
That's it.
we're past the time of asking that question, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, America has decided collectively, based on inaction and complacency, that guns are more important. In the name of rights, in the name of the Constitution, in the name of being Americans, that we value our rights and our supposed rights and freedoms more than life. Life of in this case, life of children, because it happens too often in a school.
That's where the line should be drawn. In my opinion, I feel like it shouldn't take us to get here. You know what I mean? Kids dying in school for us to realize that we need to just really take action on guns right now. And there's always the argument of, well, if it's not a gun, it's going to be something else. Well, I'm pretty sure that's the whatever something else is
It's going to be
not
less
gonna,
deadly than a gun.
yeah. You know, I do feel like you know, this has just it's so out of hand. Where do we go from here? There's nowhere safe. There's nowhere safe for our kids. There's just
Yeah, that's true. I fear for my kids in school.
it's like it's very stressful. I don't know. I honestly don't know. This was when I saw this story. The thing that gets me about this is that this story didn't really get as big as the other stories of the other shootings.
No, it didn't.
Um,
Because one of the reasons is because it's so commonplace. It's like, well, here's our school shooting of the week, and
I don't
there
even
was less people killed in this than Uvalde or Sandy
Yeah.
Hook. So people are not going to pay as much attention,
I'm
and
a
that's
kid.
sad.
I honestly didn't even get a whole lot of news about it. The other thing is in Cleveland, right there,
Yeah, and you live in the state.
2 days after this, I think, in
Mhm.
Cleveland at East Tech High School, a student was arrested for having a disassembled
AR?
AR-15 in his in his backpack. Um,
Wow. Like carried to school?
He tried to
Jeez.
avoid the metal detectors, and they ended up finding out that he had a loaded magazine in there and everything. So, you know, I just don't know where we are, but we need to do something about guns. Like we've said this for a long time. Sorry, my kids are stumping upstairs. We've been saying this for a long time, but this is just one of the pressing issues. It's just like, do you care about your guns more than you care about your kids? You can't hold on and cling on to the Second Amendment at the risk of your child losing their life at school.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, it's an unreasonable question because like you have your rights. I get that. But you just still have to decide. You still have to make a decision. Like, do I want this right more than I want to have
There
my
are
kids in a safe environment at school?
there are more guns in the United States than there are people. So just think about that. The answer to preventing this and others like it is to get the guns. That's the only thing. So I guess my point is to say that what else could have been done? Get rid of the gun. Get rid of the gun. That's
And this
that's
is
what would have prevented this.
I'm not against guns. I just want to put that out there. Like I know I just said we need to get rid of them. What I'm saying is I would love to have protection like that. I would love to, have protection like that. If I didn't think that me having a right to my gun also meant some lunatic has a right to his gun. You know what I mean? Like, but I honestly feel like, yeah, of course I would like to know that I could have that protection in my house or in my car to keep myself safe. But I don't want that so bad that I would be okay with sending my kids to school and putting their lives at risk. If it was a choice,
Yeah. The
if it was
prevalence of
a choice,
guns.
I would choose for my kids to have a safe learning experience. I don't understand why this is not the same mindset for everyone. I
Yeah.
don't get it.
The prevalence of guns, the sheer number of guns is a danger to people in this country because people can get their hands in them easily and do
Yeah.
a vast amount of damage very quickly. And you might say, well, cars kill more people. That's true because 80% of adults drive a car, and cars are prevalent. Thousands of cars go back and forth every day. The difference is that cars aren't designed to kill people. Most of the time, cars are not used intentionally to kill people. So that makes a difference. And that's a moot argument to me.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like saying, well, more people
First off,
die of
absolutely.
cancer. More people might die of cancer and heart. I don't even know if this is true, but I think it's true. More people die of cancer every day than guns, so therefore guns are not a problem. That's like saying that's not an argument. Guns are still a problem just because less people are dying from them than fill in the blank.
Yeah. The thing is, too, so this year there have been 40 school shootings, okay?
Hmm.
Now, in 2018, there were 132. So there's been a significant decrease, but this has been
That's
the most
good.
since 2018.
Okay.
The thing is, like 40 is too much. It's still too much. Like I don't want there to be any school shootings. Um, I think that just not even just with that's just school shootings. We're not talking about the shootings at churches or the mass shootings at grocery
At a
stores,
mall, grocery
movie
store, movie
theaters, or
theaters, concerts,
I mean, we're not talking about that. We're talking
bars.
about just schools alone.
Hmm.
And for this to be, I mean, just us naming those other areas of, you know what I mean, like where these shootings have happened, it's just like, why is this a normal thing? I just can't see how we can sit on our television shows and we can talk about other countries that have civil wars and we can talk about countries that have civil disruption, like
Yeah, yeah.
their civilization is disrupted. And we are here in this country, and the only thing that separates us from a third world country is money. Like, if you really think about it, our technology separates us from third world. Like we are having what we're seeing is it looks like war. It looks like war. Guns in the hands of kids, killing other kids, killing other people. That looks like war to me.
Well, some of the startling violence statistics in our country look like the kind of violence statistics that we have from war.
Yeah.
So that's not good.
My child.
You have your child.
You're just like, mommy.
Oh, do you need to go?
No,
It's
George.
okay if you need to go. Well, this is a developing story, so there's going to be more information in the next couple of days about this. But I wanted to at least mention this that Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked in San Francisco. So someone broke into their home. Excuse me, with the intention of getting to her. Apparently, he was in the process of being tied up. And like, where's Nancy? Where's Nancy? He was saying this is like at 2:30 in the morning, 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's in the middle of the night. So this isn't some random thing. This is somebody that was intentionally stalking them, broke into their house with the intention to do harm to a political leader. So no matter what you feel about Nancy, she is the second in line for the presidency. So one of the issues is that how come there isn't more security? That's legitimate, I think. And are we going to? My other question is, are we going to see more of this kind of political violence based on the fact that we have extremism? It seems like we have more and more extremism and threats of violence in the last couple of years, and probably into the next few years in election cycles. Are we going to see more of this type of thing?
Sadly, with the way that people just easily kind of believe things and jump into things these days, it looks like that's the way we're going. I mean, he was attacked with a hammer. Like they were
Can you
asking,
imagine that, like taking a
"What?"
hammer to somebody's face, to somebody's head?
Um,
So now the reports indicate that he's expected a full recovery, but if you take a hammer to the head, that's going to be this, and he's 82, I think he is. By the way, I just want to say the Pelosi's, for being in their 80s, they look pretty dang good.
Yeah.
I wish I could. But anyways,
That's what's
imagine
happening.
taking a hammer to imagine a hammer to the head. My dad is the same age. I can't imagine him taking an attack like that to the head. That would be fatal. So this is brutal.
Hammer,
This
yeah.
is brutal. This is brutal.
I think that, I mean, we look at what's been going on around the country. You have people guarding the polls and, the poll watchers who are
Poll watchers.
military gear. And I mean, this is not, I mean, just like what I was saying before, this is what you see in other countries. Like this is what America condemns on media, on the news about other countries. Like that is what we're seeing here in the United States. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's hard to admit it. And I know that it's going to take us a long time to really say it in words, but that is what it looks like. This is what we talk about on the news. This is what we see on CNN, on Fox. We talk about these other countries all the time as if it's not happening here. And now we are in the thick of it. I think we're going to see more of it. I think the more that I hate to talk about the orange man, but this is something that we're going to see as a result from his administration. I don't think it's going to die down anytime soon.
It's not dying down. It's becoming more extreme as time goes on. It's continuing to perpetuate. And Trump refuses to go away. Trump refuses to go away. He still has rallies. He's still endorsing candidates. He still is the most powerful player in the Republican Party based on if you have his endorsement, people seek his endorsement, people appear with him on stage at campaign events. So, and he says every time, mentions the election of 2020. This is now going on 2 years. So this will continue to perpetuate. I fear, even in a midterm election, I fear for what will happen afterwards in the weeks afterwards. I do.
I think
I think there's going to
definitely
be. I think there will be an incident. I hate to say this, but I think there'll be some sort of incident. I
well, it's
just
just
do.
simple math. It's simple math at this point. We can 1 + 1 is 2. There's just no um when you have the kind of when you have these kind of people leading the country or having such an influence in the country, that this is the result of that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't feel like it's good. I think that we're just headed to a really dark place just based on things that we've seen recently. And I don't know. Like this is
Yeah,
I think it's insane that
that's
someone
messed
really
up.
break into the Pelosi house and beat an elderly man with a hammer. They came looking for Nancy. It says that the where is Nancy is what it
Yeah,
says, the article says. So, you know, that's what's reported is that he's like, that's crazy.
that's crazy.
That is
Um,
insane. I don't know.
so Kanye has made the news. There's so much. There's so much stuff about this. We had an interesting discussion
We should have
for
talked
about 20 minutes,
while Lamar was still on.
and I wish Lamar was still on because he had some interesting
Oh.
insights that I had not thought of at all. I might have a different view from the two of you. I'm totally. I don't buy the whole Jewish thing.
Mhm.
However, uh, doing some Google searches, it is kind of startling how many Jewish people own media companies. Do I think that they collaborate? Do I think there's a conspiracy? No? I don't believe any of that. I think that's ridiculous. I think to say something like this publicly is shooting yourself in the foot. And I just have to also I just have to say, do you think that he has mental illness as it's been reported, or
He's
is
bipolar.
that bunk?
I think he's bipolar. I think that
Well, here's the question: how can somebody with some obviously he's functional though. Obviously he's worth a lot of money. Obviously he's made business deals. Obviously he's smart enough to manage his media empire. He's become more than just a musician. So obviously he's savvy enough to do all that.
Mhm.
Is he bipolar? Is the
I think a
question.
bipolar person is functional. Like I don't feel like if you have bipolar that bipolar's what is it? Bipolar syndrome, bipolar disease. What is it? If you are
Bipolar.
a bipolar person, I don't think you have I don't think you're not functional. I don't think you have I think you can function just like anyone else. You just, have this extra thing going on with your mental. If you take your medication, you probably be fine. I know two people with that are bipolar, and they're highly
Really? Okay.
functional. They're highly functional people. Um,
Okay. I
so
just
you would never know unless they were off their medication.
yeah, I'd be inclined to dismiss him except that um he is I mean he got to where he is um and he's obviously a very influential person and he sold a lot of music and he sold a lot of clothes.
Heavily influential
So,
industry.
you know, and he did it himself.
Now, I don't think that I agree with you. I don't think that there's like some grand conspiracy by Jewish people. I do understand that they have a large influence in Hollywood and media. That's true. However, and social media too, I think that's true. But I feel like if you're a part of the same community, you have if you're part of the same community, you're going to feel a certain way about things that are being said about your community.
Okay.
So, whether they're conspiring or not, you're going to have the same reaction. Let's cut this guy loose because he's talking about our people. My thing is though, the issue I'm having with this whole Kanye West situation is that people are outraged that he was canceled. People are outraged. Like black people are like, how are they gonna cancel Kanye West? He had a message to say. How are they gonna cancel him? But they didn't cancel him over the black comments, or they didn't cancel him over what he said about black people.
What do you think about that?
I think it's
Is there
insane
something to it?
Yeah, I think that you have these you know who's in power, you know who is the head over these companies,
Yeah.
and these are your partners, and you're
Yeah.
talking badly about them. Black people aren't in those positions. If Black people were over media, if Black people were leading, Hollywood,
So
he
if
would
we
be
had,
canceled a long time ago. He would be
so if there
canceled.
was a black owner of Adidas and the
Yeah,
Gap, if they were the owners and the CEOs of those companies, then when he showed up with
White
uh,
Lives Matter shirts. He
White
would.
Lives Matter shirt, people would have been like, yeah, okay, sorry.
So my view on that is I get the outrage. Like I totally understand. Like, you wish more would have happened because he was talking badly about Black people and he said that George Floyd died of fentanyl, like a fentanyl overdose. Like I'm outraged about his comments, but I do understand why he wasn't canceled. I do understand because we don't have the power to cut him out of those deals.
Okay.
You go and you talk about the people who do have the power to do that, and they're gonna cut you out. It's like you can't talk badly about your boss or your business partner and still expect them to cut you a check. They're gonna sever their ties with you, and they're gonna move on to someone who's less problematic. Like it just for me, it makes sense. But I got trolled for this. I've been I don't
Really?
know why I do this. I clearly have too much time on my hands because I'm on Facebook debating with people about it.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, "But you don't think that the Jewish people run Hollywood?" I'm like, whether they do or not, I don't really know. But what I do know is that I'm not going to talk badly about people who cut me a check. So if we're not talking about Jewish people, let's just go in with Kanye directly talked about Adidas. He talked
Yep.
about Adidas like they wasn't SHIT and that they could not sever his ties from them because they would suffer a great loss.
Yep.
They severed their ties, Kanye. It's mighty cold out there, ain't it? He got on and he did a public apology. And, everyone was like, he's got a plan. This was all in his plan. And
What
that
plan?
all
What
went
plan
down.
is that?
I honestly, I don't know, but I will say that all went down the drain when he got online and did that public apology. You can't just move however you want to move, Kanye. I don't, but hey, money is a powerful thing.
Hmm.
It's a powerful
So,
drug. So
do you think that he is diminished and done?
I think I canceled Kanye in my book a long time ago. I don't
Okay.
really mess with Kanye. I'm really sorry about my kids in the background. This door is closed, but there's a lot of acoustics upstairs. I will say I personally I've canceled Kanye. A lot of people I know are really done with Kanye just ever since the whole slavery was a choice comment. I think that people understand what he means when he says certain things. Like there's an underlying meaning, but this last bout was completely crazy and off its hinges, and it didn't make no
Okay.
sense whatsoever. But cancel, I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's
I don't know
hard
if
for
he's
me to
going
believe
for
that he's going to
everywhere,
sell a
but
lot of albums after this, but I could be wrong.
yeah, I don't think that he's in. I don't think it's gonna take a lot for the Black community to welcome him back. But I don't know. There's a large group of Black people who are like were really mad at him until he got canceled by all the white people. They were really, really mad at him, and then when the white folks canceled
What do
Kanye,
they say now?
they were like, they're upset that he's canceled, and see what they do to the Black man. See what they cancel a Black man, and
So, are these the people that say the things like he had a point? Are these the people that say, well, you canceled his voice, he had a point?
yes, the same people that were 2 weeks ago, and these are just people that I'm talking about personally. Like same people 2 weeks ago that were like mad about the White Lives Matter shirts today are really mad about him being canceled by Adidas and being blackballed by the entire industry. You can't have it both ways. Okay, you can't have it both ways. You can be mad
Hmm.
that he didn't get canceled for the main argument is, oh, they canceled him for his anti-Semitic comments, but they did not cancel him for um the White Lives Matter t-shirts or saying George Floyd died of fentanyl overdose or saying, I'm just like, you guys have to do the math, man. Like, we don't run those industries that he's being canceled from.
Yeah.
The thing that we can do as Black people when we want to cancel someone like Kanye, don't buy his products.
Yeah.
But we're so controlled by, name brands and labels that we don't care that Ye said that, George Floyd died of fentanyl overdose. I'm gonna keep saying that because we know that's a lie.
Right.
We don't care that he said those things, and we don't care that he said white lives do matter, or that he went on Tucker Carlson. We still want to wear those Yeezys. I don't get it. I don't. I don't understand it because, one, I'm not paying hundreds of dollars to look homeless. That's not me. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. But the other thing is, I don't want to take away. I was saying earlier, like his contributions to the fashion industry is great. Like honestly, the fashion industry would not have made the changes, and I actually do like some of the high fashion stuff. That's all Kanye for real. But he's just crazy now. I don't know. He's off his rocker. He needs to go sit down somewhere, go meditate somewhere, go get some professional help, and come back a little better. That's what he needs to do. Work with himself. Very disappointing. Yeah. So
Well,
what's the bottom line today, dear?
we appreciate all of you out there, and thank you for joining us for our show today. Have a good holiday with your family this week. Stay warm as it's getting colder here in the Midwest, and but I guess my bottom line is once again about the election, and to make sure that you have a planned vote. If you make sure you have the time, make sure that you have gotten your, if you can't show up in person, if you have your absentee ballot, or if you can show up early, as my wife is doing, that helps. So make sure you get out there and vote, and we pray for a smooth process and a nonviolent process.
I agree. My bottom line is very short and simple. I agree with all you just said, so second that. But also, just be careful out here. It's Halloween. Check your candy every year. There's some stories about people slipping stuff in the candies. Be on the lookout for those colorful little circle candies that might end up in your child's Halloween basket by some crazy folks. This is not Smarties. These are they're fentanyl tablets.
The candy fentanyl thing.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for that. Just keep an eye on your kid's candy basket. You need to look through that candy basket before you let your kids eat the candy. Okay. It's just it's one of
Do you
those.
think that's a scare tactic, though?
I don't, because we've had
Okay.
many years where people have put needles in candy or put drugs in the candy, and the kids don't know any different. They're just eating the stuff. I think that it used to be a time where we didn't have to worry about things like that, but today anything can happen. So I just say, just be careful out there. Watch your backs. Please don't let your children go trick or treating by themselves. I don't care how old they are. Go with
So
your
you don't
kid.
think that's an urban myth, then? What we're hearing about these candy fentanyl things?
I don't. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I
Rainbow
don't think-
fentanyls, the so-called rainbow fentanyl.
I don't think so, because you have like there are candies that are not fentanyl but are like acid tablets, and kids take those all the time, and it's
Okay.
just very scary the way that drugs are so easily accessible right now. I just think it's so important that we just protect our kids, and
Yeah.
especially on Halloween, there's just so much going on. Don't let your kids go trick-or-treating by themselves, guys. Go with your small children, okay? I don't care if you trail behind them a few trick-or-treaters back. Just keep an eye on your kids. It's a crazy time right now.
Okay.
That's what I'm feeling on my heart to say. Please be careful out here.
All right.
And if your
Well,
kid is dressed up as Jeffrey Dahmer, do not let them go door to door. Change that costume right away, because he might get beat up.
Yep.
Don't be one of them. All right. But we will see you guys next
We'll
week.
see you next week. Thanks for your support. Like and subscribe if you can.
All right. Bye.
Let's roll it up.